I'm assuming that everybody at home is applauding wildly as we bring on Spencer Dinwiddie. Hello, it's nice to see you.
Hi,
and
nice to
we have Zack Seward as well, both of you. So Spencer with EonXI and of course the Brooklyn Nets. Loving what you guys are doing with your tech advancement, especially into blockchain and crypto projects. Zack, I will let you take away this conversation.
Sweet, thanks, Andy. Hey, I'm Zack Seward. I am an editor at CoinDesk, the leading news site for the cryptocurrency industry. Really happy to be joined by Spencer Dinwiddie. Many of you, I'm sure, know Spencer already, but I'll attempt a quick bio off the dome. Spencer is a guard for the Brooklyn Nets. He is a bit of a crypto innovator, and he is an investor as well. And we're going to try to touch all three of those aspects of the multifaceted Spencer Dinwiddie in the next half hour. First of all, hey Spencer, what's up?
Not much, man. You know, I'm in LA right now, so it's a tad bit early, but I'm excited to be on. Thank you to the folks at Chainlink, Smart Contract, you obviously for being on as well. You know, let's get rolling.
All right, let's do this thing. So first of all, I really want to ask just about like the historic players strike that the NBA is seeing right now. Get a little intel from you on what you're thinking about that and whether or not we're going to see the playoffs resume at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think they released last night that the playoffs will resume. I think obviously it's good for the health of the league for it to resume, but it's also good for players to make a statement. Obviously, in a space that preaches, you know, democratizing things and decentralizing power and giving everybody a right to vote and things of that nature, you guys definitely are easily capable of wrapping your heads around why you know, the players were upset with what's going on right now and what's going on. So, you know, I mean, there's not that much more to be said.
Got it. So you ultimately ended up not joining the team when they resumed in the bubble. You had a positive COVID test and decided it was in your best interest to sit this one out. How you doing, man? You feeling all right? How was that experience, first of all?
Yeah, it was crazy. It actually felt like having the flu for several weeks. So I was kind of in the mild to like medium range, I guess. Like I wasn't, you know, on my deathbed or anything like that, thankfully. But I also wasn't asymptomatic by any stretch either. The doctor said, you know, that they felt it was best for me not to participate just from the standpoint of how long I had been in the bed, what it would be like to, you know, try to get back into shape for the season, and also the potential long-term ramifications if there were any, because our knowledge base is so, you know, it's in its infant stages. But beyond that, right now I'm feeling fine. I'm getting back to working out and, you know, enjoying life and happy to be here.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear you're in good health. Yeah, so during that time, I mean, first of all, you ended up picking a hell of a year to try something new on the contract front, because things like really went off the rails here in 2020. Yeah. So just if you want to just give us a quick update, I'll set you up. So basically what Spencer did was he had this novel approach to tokenizing part of his contract with the Nets to give access to outside investors to buy portions of that contract. Can you just, like, for the folks who may not be all the way familiar with it, just like let people in attendance know what you were hoping to accomplish with that tokenization plan?
Yeah, that was always pilot. You know what I'm saying? It was our pilot, it was our proof of concept, which is why we had, you know, very stringent rules. It was a little bit more vanilla than, you know, other products that we plan on offering in the future. I think when you look at really what you have to do is kind of take a step back and look at not just basketball, not just football, but just the entire entertainment industry as a whole, right? Fan engagement and the consumer is the backbone, right? Like if the fans don't pay for a movie or pay to go to a game or consume the product, then there is no business. So the more that you tie, you know, people in and create a community and all those other things, which once again are principles that crypto and blockchain in general typically leans towards, the more robust that ecosystem will be. So when looking at the NBA specifically and how it applies to my industry, a contract is low-hanging fruit, but it's also probably the hardest thing to do. So we kind of wanted the first mover's advantage in the hardest possible area to pretty much put our flag in the stand and say, hey, look, guys, we're here. And now we can take up all that, you know, easier ground in terms of interactions and nifties and other things that are going to be fun as the business scales. So, you know, that's kind of the thought process behind it. To your point with COVID, it kind of, you know, shook things up a little bit. We're doing a full bond for pretty much the full amount of my contract. We had actually a lot of real estate investors that liked the terms of the deal. And obviously with COVID, they requested to pull out instead of, holding their money and, making this about a money grab or something like that. We released all funds and then redid the process. We fulfilled 10% of the bond, which, for us was a extreme win to do it in the middle of COVID and get the pilot proof of concept out. Now we're in a head down phase building the rest of the business. And I mean, shoot, we're looking at launching our app sometime in October, hopefully.
That's cool. Yeah. So, I mean, we reported based on some of the SEC documents. So you ended up getting 8 or 9 investors to like dip in. Was it like 150,000 roughly a share?
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, this being the pilot, and again, like I think that's a great way to look at it, because I mean, talking about like taking the ball and running with it, you had to cut through some serious red tape to make this thing even happen. We reported on that process over the course of the end of last year, just getting this through MBA and making sure that they were cool with how you proceeded here. What feedback did you get from investors? Like, what are you going to do next time to make this, really click? Like, what kind of feedback did you hear in terms of how this was attractive, wasn't attractive, and could be more attractive going forward?
Yeah. So, I mean, with my specifically, you heard a lot from like very safe kind of legacy type of investors, right? As I mentioned the real estate people. Those were like people that really loved it. And then you also heard from like the people that were very avid in the crypto space, right? Like the blockchain capitals and, people like that, right? So, which were cool to have both sides of that, but really like the ethos of what we're building is fan engagement. But we knew with the price and the stringent rules and all that we weren't going to target that. But like I said, if you have to go through the SEC, FINRA, anybody else is going to look into the NBA, and we want them to look at us as a legitimate party. We don't want them to say like, oh, here's this kid trying to, rip off somebody's grandmother. We said, look, however hard, however safe, however, whatever you guys need to ease your mind on this, because we view the NBA as a partner in the future, and we want the SEC and FINRA and all those people to, understand that we're here to stay and legitimate. We'll make it as safe as we possibly can. So that's how we came up with the structure that we had. But going forward, no, like we want these tokens to be $1, 10 cents, whatever it is. Like we want everybody to have access and be able to interact with their community, increase fan engagement, all that stuff. So in the subsequent offerings, you won't see, well, let me not say you won't, you probably won't see those types of minimums, those types of restrictions. We're really working to scale this thing for everybody. And so, just to make sure that, especially being not only the founder, but also the proof of concept, I couldn't do something radical that was going to, get me in a lot of trouble with those type of regulatory bodies.
Yeah, Spencer, token sales are back, baby. They are back in a big way. So I'm looking forward to seeing you on like CoinList, like in the coming weeks.
There you go.
And also, just the other day, I don't know if you saw this, the SEC like sort of moved the needle on how many, on like what accredited investors means. Yep. So there may be like a slightly bigger subset of folks who might have access to a vehicle like this going forward, which is cool. Hey, I don't know what your app is actually, so you kind of dropped that. Like, what is that app gonna do? Give me the pitch on this app real quick.
Oh, remember, like I said, this is all about fan engagement. So this is, personal tokens, creator monetization, stuff of that nature. I mean, one of the reasons I'm on here is because, a lot of people see me tweet about like Chainlink and things like that. I mean, they're going to be the Oracle system for the app. So, I would say that's probably the first bombshell that anybody really knows, because we've been in stealth building mode. But since I'm here, and I know we have a lot of Link Marines on here, figured I'd give you guys that nugget. So, look out for October.
That's it. What rank? Do you have an official rank in the Link Marines now, Spencer? Are you what level are you right now? Like
no. Hey, listen, I'm not too much of an expert in terms of how I rank in the hierarchy, but I'm proud to be a part of it, and obviously with them being an integral part of like what's going to go on in my app. Thank you to the fan base, and then also let's change the world.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, I might need to write that up a little bit later. So thanks for the tip. You're using You're partnering with Chainlink. That's good stuff. Cool. I want to talk about another investment you made recently with actually a number of really interesting investors from the NBA. I think there was Andre Iguodala was involved. There was JaVale, Shaqtin' a Fool McGee was involved. There was all sorts of people involved in this big round for Dapper Labs, which, as many people know, are the folks who built CryptoKitties back in 2017. They have a new collectibles game out called, I think it's NBA Top Shot, that does NFT collectibles. Talk to me about why you thought NFTs were an attractive investment opportunity, how you got in on that round, and how you're involved with that team going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think the premise of NFTs kind of goes back to, when you were a kid and collecting basketball cards or Pokemon cards. For me, I was an anime guy, so things of that nature. I think it appeals to some of that. I think when you look at Dapper, what they were able to do with CryptoKitties, and also kind of crashing Ethereum and just like all that stuff. And then the natural synergy with them having the NBA partnership and doing NBA Top Shot, it kind of just brings all of that together. And so just believing in the team going forward and other verticals that they're going to explore and continue to innovate and build, it kind of made that investment a no-brainer for me, just considering my different passions.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a lot of NBA players starting to dabble in this space. We had a story, I don't know, last week, a couple weeks ago. It was like Matthew Dellavedova, like invested in BlockFi, I think. Like all of a sudden there's like NBA people popping up in stories that we do on CoinDesk, and it's kind of interesting. So I wanted to ask you about that. Like why, you're either like spreading the gospel really well within the NBA or more likely something bigger is happening. And I wanted to get your take as to like why we're seeing more crossover between NBA players and the cryptocurrency world.
Well, I'll say I think the evolution of NBA players as investors probably started several years ago when VC kind of became popular and people were talking about Golden State and Silicon Valley and things of that nature. And so as the education as investors and the broadening of the scope beyond just the stock market starts to happen, then you mix that with like the volatility in the country and people talking about, I don't know how many jobs are lost at this point, but the stock market's still going up and, the repo markets and all those other things, to most people that doesn't make sense, right? One of the things about the blockchain community in terms of the actual premises, when you dive into them, they make sense. Now, some of the projects, that's a story for another day, but, the premises of what the foundation really is, makes sense. And so I think for basketball players, when they're looking to place disposable income in things, they're looking for those types of areas, right? So you're going to start seeing more people look into gold and look into, Bitcoin, and look into, teams that have verified success in the space. So I think that's part of the reason why a BlockFi or Dapper or something like that just makes a lot of sense for guys. We'll see how that continues to evolve. I mean, I think probably the next step will be machine learning and, stuff like that. But it's going to continue to go on.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, sort of on the investor side of what you do, what are some of the next opportunities that you're looking at? Is it machine learning? Is it more crypto stuff? I know you're in Dapper Labs. Are we going to see additional investments in rounds going forward from you and others that you're working with?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if there's some natural synergy, I would definitely do it in this Q4 part of 2020. If not, I'll probably leave it to Q1 2021, just because, like I said, being the CEO of an app and a company that's coming out and about to be very forward facing in the next couple months requires a lot of work. We have a great team around us, but it's something I'm very, very focused on a day-to-day basis. So any venture things right now are kind of kicked to the venture fund that I'm connected to, and we take it from there.
That's cool. So you are planning to join the Nets next year come fall, right? You have a couple of years left on the contract?
I have 1 year left on the contract, but yeah, I'm hoping to win a championship, and then after that, we'll take it from there.
Damn, man. So how do you juggle all this stuff? You got a lot of irons in the fire right now. Like, how are you doing this? How does this work?
Really just consolidating, right? So I was doing more things when we were kind of doing pilot and proof of concept, because there's a lot of partners that it takes to pull that off, but you're not really building a full business at that time. You're just doing the pilot. So, I was doing other things, venture investing, things like that. Like I said, right now, venture is definitely on the back burner. A lot of my other side projects or passion projects are on the back burner. Like really, all I do every day is I focus on basketball first, so early in the morning, I get my workouts in. I probably work out, 4 hours or so a day, up to 6 hours a day. And then, well, not on Sunday, I take Sunday off. And then, for the latter half of the day, I do, stuff for the app. So pretty much those are the two main focuses outside of being a dad. And that's it.
I hear that, man. That's cool. How many kids you got?
Just one. He's 2.5.
Well, that's good. That's good age. That's good age. I got 3. It's a lot, but it's fun. So anyway, it's good to have kids. All right, cool. So let's see. So within the cryptocurrency space, like more generally, I know Bitcoin was your like introduction to the space, obviously, and you've since like learned a lot about the other protocols out there. Remember talking about that a little bit as we were discussing this stuff back in May at Consensus. What do you think? What do you think it's going to take for people to start, on a mass scale, to start taking this stuff more seriously? What do you think it's going to take for people to sort of start jumping in the space with both feet, as opposed to just dipping a toe in so far?
Well, one, obviously consumer-facing apps. The more you can get people using their technology, understanding the baseline premises, but making it feel very Web 2, so it's familiar. I think that's probably the first thing. Secondarily, a macroeconomic crisis, right? Like if you're gonna flee the mainstream, financial system to go to another one, it's gonna have to not just recession or depression. It's gonna have to like basically collapse. You know what I mean? So we're talking like hyperinflation and all that. So people really jumping in with both feet, because if not, people are gonna do it safe. You know what I mean? Like people are always, most people are risk averse, so they're not gonna jump in with both feet. They'll put a toe in, they'll maybe put a foot in, but they're not just gonna dive into an ocean. So I would say those are the 2 factors. But the more you can get people using the technology and kind of understand it to a certain extent, with it still looking familiar in Web 2, I think that's the best bet. Yeah,
I mean, I guess you could make a case for like something like Top Shot being sort of a vehicle for that, right? Like that has a very Web 2 veneer. I remain a little bit bearish on NFTs. I don't fully get them, but I'm curious about your like bull case for NFT adoption and why that might be exciting going forward.
Yeah, no. So for me, like I said, it's the same thing around like basketball cards, Pokemon cards, things like that. So you get kind of a tribalistic sense in terms of the fandom for that specific thing, and you prove the scarcity. So that's really it in a nutshell. You know what I mean? I don't think necessarily Nifty's are going to be like $10 trillion market or something like that. But for something that's already proven, as we move to digital based things all the way around, would you rather have your basketball card on your phone or your basketball card in your hand? And so for most kids and people growing up right now, they're going to say, I'd rather have my basketball card on my phone, and essentially that's a Nifty. You know what I mean? So
is that a functionality? I think you may have mentioned this. Is that a functionality that you're trying to roll out into your own app, like provably scarce digital ownership, or is that something that's still to come?
Oh yeah, no, we got a lot of fun things. Y'all go see. Don't worry, it's gonna start being unveiled very, very shortly. I just gave y'all the Chainlink nugget because we're here.
That's good, man. Well, this is the place to drop the Chainlink nugget, because the Marines are gonna be pumped about that. That's good stuff. Are you making a shoe right now? I was like lurking on your Instagram a little bit last night. Are you like designing a shoe? Like what's going on? Is that related or is that a different thing?
No, that's different. So I've had my own shoe for 3 years now.
Oh, okay.
And so I draw them and things, and that's like a passion project for me.
Cool.
What I did was just show like the early sketches of the shoe. Pretty much like that was it.
Okay. That was the extent of it. That was the extent I dug into it. That was the extent.
That's all good.
I'm like, oh man, that's cool drawing of a shoe. That's tight. All right, so we have about 15 minutes left. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop it over in the chat. I'm sure I keep an eye on that just to see if anyone wants to get any questions up to Spencer. In the meantime, we're going to chit chat some more. I'm Zack Seward. I'm from CoinDesk. This is Spencer Dinwiddie. He's from the Nets and a bunch of other cool things. Let's see. What else is interesting? What else is interesting in the space? What other protocols are you watching? I know you're teaming up with Chainlink. It's going to be part of the product. Are there any other like developments within the crypto space specifically that you find interesting, notable, or like potentially something you'd want to participate in?
I mean, I definitely like interoperability. So, it'd be like Polkadot, Cosmos. I like Aave a lot, Avalanche and Aave Labs. Hedera Hashgraph for, kind of looking at the approach of things that approach it from a very business. And I know this doesn't, like all crypto people don't love this, right? But in terms of trying to bridge that gap, being able to appeal to some of those legacy systems, the Googles, the IBMs, like those people that are on Hedera's council, I think that's very powerful. You know, even if that's just in the interim step before it is able to get fully decentralized. I'm not one of those people that thinks like we're just going to drop like something fully decentralized and it's just going to take over the world by tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like there's going to have to be a gradual step. I mean, even with Bitcoin, you know, and it's very young. So what it's done in 10 years is phenomenal. But like, if people thought it was just going to take over JP Morgan and all the other stuff tomorrow without a fight and all these other things, like there was no chance that was going to happen, right? Like it's going to have to eventually get there and the people are going to have to eventually make that happen. And then I'd say besides those, I think Algorand has a really robust ecosystem. I know they're one of the only, or they're the only two with Ethereum that has both like Tether and USDC, and they have a big fiat network. I know Celo's mobile first, mobile friendly, which is, I think, you know, that has a lot of forethought for them, or foresight, I guess would be the better word. Yeah, I mean, I would say probably those. Are
you dabbling in any yield farming these days? You getting into the whole DeFi craze? What's is that Sammy from Aave is here in the chat? So the DeFi madness this summer has been something that we at CoinDesk have been covering like crazy. Has that percolated up to your radar?
It has, from a strategic standpoint, in terms of learning and seeing what products have done well. I have not yet gotten into yield farming. I've seen yams all over my timeline, but I have not yet gotten into any of that. So
it's probably wise. You know, got to do your research before you get into unaudited protocols, man. You got to watch out. That's cool. All right, so let's see what else. We touched on the season. We touched on the contract tokenization. We touched on the investments. We touched on all the things that you have a hand in. Like, what's something that you want to know more of from like the Chainlink community? Like, maybe we can try to do a little bit of audience engagement here. We're talking about engagement. We're talking about engagement with the fans. What do you want to know from the people who are watching this thing right now? Like, what can you learn from these communities that can be useful to you? And vice versa, chat box. If you guys want to drop any questions like that, let's do it.
I've noticed that the Link Marines are probably one of the strongest communities in crypto, and obviously the way the Link token is flown is amazing. This might be a better question for the Chainlink team itself, but forget it. We'll ask you guys, like, what do they do so well to really help you guys feel a part of the community, feel a part of Chainlink, feel a part of, you know, everything that's going on? You know what I mean? Besides the obviously revenue generating potential and the fact that the token is going crazy and all that, like that's phenomenal, and I'm gonna, you know, making a little bit of money too. But like, what about like the community just makes you guys feel so connected?
I think that's a really great question. I mean, I think, and if I was trying to build a business in crypto right now, I think the meme strategy of Chainlink it sounds silly, but it's like demonstrably a big part of the community and has shown why it's stuck around. So like, what's your meme strategy going to look like, Spencer? I mean, as you roll out this thing, like maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe that's the secret sauce for making the community click, you know?
There you go. Now I gotta add something. So I gotta call the marketing department and be like, hey, we need a meme strategy.
We need a meme strategy. We need as many memes as possible. Let's see. I'm gonna see if there's any questions over here. This one may not be relevant, but I think it's a good question. It's from Peter Paul Bond. The question is this: with your app, aren't you afraid to take away marketing budget from NBA teams and that way go against your employer? Or do you see your app mutual to marketing NBA marketing budgets? So basically, like, do your efforts complement existing NBA efforts, or do you risk sort of taking a slice away from their pie?
No. So remember, like when we talked about fan engagement and making an ecosystem more robust, if I'm engaging the fans and doing these things, remember, I'm not starting my own league by any stretch, right? So what I'm doing is bringing fans in and making them feel more franchised, right? In their favorite player, in their favorite, you know, community of sorts, which only makes the NBA better. Like the reason why, like I said, with the bond to start, we took out a lot of things and made it super safe and all these things was so that the NBA felt comfortable. And so that they kind of knew what was going on and that we had that constant line of communication. So my goal long term is to partner with the NBA. Like it would be fool of me not to. I mean, it's my first job, and then it also can extremely complement my second job. So like that, the NBA is to me the most ideal partner, and I hope to only help their ecosystem as well.
That makes sense. The NBA, someone mentioned this the other day, and I think it's true. The NBA is sort of like starting to become one of the more important institutions in American culture, really kind of on the forefront of progressive thought. So I think it is interesting to think about how to build in partnership with the NBA as they cement their position sort of within the culture. I'm seeing a question. I don't even know about this question. Feel free to swap this question. I'm gonna put it up. What percentage of revenue is in cryptocurrency, Spencer? Maybe that's how much
of mine.
Yeah.
Including my so that's tough. So as a cryptocurrency investor, or as like a trader, as a building my app that has obviously a blockchain foundation to it. If you add up all those different verticals, then a lot of it, the majority, and then the minority would be in real estate. I have a couple houses and stuff, but if you're asking if I'm in the stock market right now, I'm not too much. I mean, I have a 401k, a Roth IRA, a little fund for my son, things like that, but nothing too consequential at the moment.
Well, that's interesting. So most of your savings is in the crypto markets. That's a striking statement.
Yeah, in a variety of different ways, right? So I view my homes and things as kind of my safer bucket. I have a couple, like I said, retirement buckets that are in equities, and then I have, but I'm a very risk forward person, right? I'm building startups and doing these things, and hopefully I'm fortunate enough to also have another NBA contract coming that if everything went to zero right now, then that's when I would put the whole next contract into a bond and just go retire somewhere and say oh man, I messed up, I lost it all. I'll just go chill out, So I do have contingency plans in place and things like that. But I'm much more risk forward at this stage of my life at 27 than I would be if I was 35, 40, or something like that.
Sounds good. We have a question. I think it's forthcoming, but so this question may not apply. Anybody have a link to the app, or Spencer, do you have a website that you can direct people to so they can, I don't know, get on the early alpha list or something for to try these things out?
Stealth mode, baby. But tune into my Twitter. So go follow me on Twitter or Instagram. Trust me, when it's time to release and when we put the landing page up and we want you to, start doing signups, that's going to be the place to find it. Like I said, founder. So, it's me, baby. Let's do it. Find him on Twitter, people. Find him on Twitter, Instagram. That's where it's at. We have a question from Kanan. Sorry if I said that wrong. Any idea on staking? I guess it's just your opinion more broadly on staking, or if there's a staking element to what you're working on. But that's the extent of the question. When we initially come out, there won't be a staking element native to our app. It's something that we are looking at doing in kind of maybe day 2, day 3. What are my opinions on staking overall? I mean, you got to find a way to secure the network, right? Nobody is proven to be perfect, right? Because if you do a consensus type of mechanism, then they're saying, well, it's all held by, this group up here, right? If you do a pure proof of stake and, a whale dominates the, scene, and they're saying, well, that person has the power. If you do proof of work, then the mining goes to wherever it's cheapest. So then you can get geographical centralization. Nobody's figured out the perfect method of decentralization, and I think it's something that's going to continue to be iterated on and eventually figured out, right? But at the end of the day, what we're seeing in terms of these steps pushing the boundaries and trying, one of the biggest things you can ever do in life is to try, and it's what advances not just you but the race as a whole, right? If I never tried to shoot a 3, I wouldn't be able to, just by virtue of me never attempting to pure decentralization and pure democracy if we don't keep pushing the boundaries. So I really actually appreciate all the different forms of proof of work or proof of stake, and I'm not nearly as tribalistic in terms of saying that's right and that's wrong, because there's there's merit in both, and there's also things that there's pros and cons in either system.
Got it. Did you say you said, you know, the stuff that you're building is going to be based on blockchain? Did you say which blockchain you're building on? Is it safe to assume that Flow blockchain is one of the ones you'd be building on? We heard Avalanche blockchain shouted out. Like what? I don't know if you want to tip your hand, but if you do, that'd be cool.
We can't tip our hand yet, but what's coming though is gonna be you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised. At least in my mind, you will be.
That's good. That's good. We got a nice little comment from Preston Ziegler, speaking to sort of the meme strategy and how you generate community that you might want to check out. I'll read part of it. Preston says, when you spend so much time learning and invested in the insider memes, it helps to build upon the community and feeling part of something bigger for the future. Quote, we are all in this together. So that's I guess an answer to your question about like how do you build something? How do you build a community around a new product?
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks, Preston. Thanks for doing that. We got a few minutes left. People are liking the suspense or liking the tease. I think they're gonna be tuned in, Spencer. I think they're gonna be pretty pumped when this thing drops, man.
Perfect.
When that image hits Instagram, they're gonna be eating it up. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it for me. Let me think of like one last question to go out on. So yeah, you're 27 now. You're setting yourself up pretty well for, you know, a future career outside of athletics. When you're talking to kids who are like athletically inclined and you're talking to them about how to sort of structure their future, maybe similarly or differently from how you've done it, what are you advising kids that you run into at basketball camps? Like, are you advising them like, hey, work on this as much as you can and then also work on something else? Are you advising them like, you know, pick a thing and stick with it? You know, what's like the, you know, as it relates to like building something and having a long-term prospect, like how are you advising young people that you interact with these days?
Yeah. If advising young kids, I think is always kind of tough. I don't really tell them to take my path because my path was kind of difficult in a sense. And, you know, I've stepped out on a lot of limbs and a lot of ledges that like if I didn't fully believe in them, you know, I probably would have gotten lost in general a long time ago. I think the biggest thing is probably networking while you're in the NBA. You know, like, so if that's your passion, if NBA is your passion or whatever it is, like pick your passion, go full force for sure. You always got to approach it and attack it every day. And then while you're in this position, definitely like understand the value of the network, you know, and take your time and learn what you are passionate about outside of basketball. And you'll probably be able to get in touch with whoever it is you need to get in touch with. And then just maximize it from there. You know, be authentic, be yourself. People take to that, you know, and people, especially in the real world, can tend to stem out like when you're not authentic. You know what I mean? I remember when I first got into the blockchain space, you know, I got a lot of side eyes. Like I got like, are you really here? Or did you just kind of make some money on Bitcoin? Dang, I kept saying Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin. This might be a Freudian slip. Another nugget for you guys.
I was definitely have some of the Bitcoin coming. Okay.
But yeah, no, you know, and once you know you dive in, you're immersed in, you're authentic with, you know, your interactions and who you are. People then, instead of side-eyeing you, they gravitate towards you, you know, and anything you want to get accomplished because of that network and because of that authenticity are then possible. So, you know, those are probably my you know, my 30-second like, hey, go for it, guys.
All right, team.
Oh, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, Spencer. Nice to see you again. Thank you so much for joining, Zach. Awesome job. Thank you so much for doing this. Cool. You guys taking time out of your busy day, man. The community loved it. I just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks, man. It was a good time. Spencer, as always, fantastic chatting with you, man. I hope we do it again soon.
You guys take it easy. Thank you so much.
See you guys. Bye.